As light departs to let the earth be one with night, silence deepens in the mind and thoughts grow slow. The basket of twilight brims over with colors, gathered from within the sacred meadows of the day and offered like blessings to the gathering tenebrae. After the day's frenzy, may the heart grow still, gracious in thought for all the day brought, surprises that dawn could never have dreamed. This is from the poem Vespers by John O'Donohue. Welcome to our Vespers worship this evening, friends, with St. Paul and St. Andrew. May this time draw us nearer to God.
Please join us in the call to worship on mute. Be still and know that I am God.
Be still and know that I am.
Be still and know.
Be still.
Be.
Now we're going to sing Abide With Me, the first two verses. I will lead us in a cappella for these two verses. Y'all can sing along with me from your homes on mute. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, so abide with me. Swift to its close, ebbs out life's little change and decay. In all around I see. O Lord, who changes not, abide with me.
I board the elevator, heading to the office of my dentist on the 18th floor. On a panel to my right scrolls a script providing a few sentences about recent income. I can't tell you more because I have reflexively averted my eyes. I don't want to know. Can I at least ride the elevator in the solitude of my own thoughts? Today, the siren call of data has replaced the music of the past. An improvement, at least it's easier to consciously shift one's gaze than to close one's ears. But this brief moment of irritation captures for me the trap of living in the age of information, a way of life that most of us, myself included, participate in willingly. We want data. We want connections. We want our email, our NPR news, our daily times with our daily bread. This chatter of fact and opinion keeps our minds at a constant vibration, playing and replaying words, images, and ideas. Always slightly distracted, we fleetingly notice our surroundings. With our attention splintered, we rarely notice our thoughts or the urgings of our hearts. And if we dare ask, how can I hear my own heart? How do I know what I want? What is my true desire? If we pause to listen, we discover that the signals of our heart, though constant, rumble faintly. Jammed by the noise and static of our devices, these rumblings need amplification. They need silence and solitude. Not to be confused with loneliness. Solitude is an aloneness that opens us up to silence. But silence is a Swiss Army knife that does many things. Some, negative and passive, give refuge to the coward who does not speak up when their favorite aunt utters a racist slur or when their boss shares a homophobic joke. Some, active and positive, provide a safe retreat at that moment when we are unable to say anything that nurtures love. Holding one's tongue when we can't find the grace to speak the loving thing in a moment of anger, or when we are tempted to unnecessarily criticize. The silence, however, that voices the muted rumblings of the heart allows the soul to speak. It is the silence of the morning of the soul that dawns when we stop to invite quiet and calmness, preconditions for a moral life, and the prerequisite for a right relationship with God. It is the silence of the seeker that discovers, in the words of Thoreau, that God himself culminates in the present moment. In silence, we find a deeper level of communication that goes beyond mere words, that becomes communion. We reconnect with, as Thomas Merton expresses, an older unity, that we are already one, but we imagine we are not. And what we have to recover is our original unity. What we have to be is what we are.
We'll continue with the next two verses of Abide with Me. I need thy presence every passing hour. What but thy grace can foil thy tempter's power? Who like thyself my guide and stay can be? Through cloud and sunshine, who abide with me? I fear no foe, with thee at hand to bless. Ills have no weight, and tears no bitterness. Where is death's sting? Where, grave, thy victory? I triumph still if thou abide with me.
In nature, birds chirp even during the winter. Tree branches fall, making a rather alarming thumping noise. When trees are glazed with ice, they become a giant wind chime. Of course, you won't hear honking or people yelling at each other like in Jackson Heights, Queens, but you will be surprised how hard it is to find a spot that provides absolute silence, even in upstate New York. I learned that while walking around my friend's farm and adjoining wooded area in the last 2 years of the COVID pandemic. Sure, silence is not the default mode in the wilderness. Still, we tend to have the image of Jesus walking in a quiet wasteland for 40 days. Before tempted by the devil, what did Jesus hear? Did he not hear various sounds, such as dry grasses making rustling noise as he stepped over them, rocks tumbling off small hills, and the morning wind blowing through his hair? It is possible that the only thing Jesus heard in the wilderness was the sound of silence, as he was so absorbed in his thought, shutting off any noise. That's why Jesus heard the devil talking to him, and more importantly, was able to overcome the devil. When I go out for a walk in the woods, my farmer friend warns me to be quiet, not to surprise the wild animals in their habitat. I heed his advice and proceed with care. Snow is good as it absorbs sound, but when it hardens on the ground, it makes noise under my feet, which I can't control. When I focus on each step not to disturb my neighbors, I forget about what I was doing the previous day or a few hours earlier. Then I lose myself in the environment. If I were a student of Zen, I would probably describe it as being one with nature. Whether or not I am one with nature, I remain silent because I have no words to describe the moment. Only then, although very occasionally, do some living things appear in front of me. I have seen a herd of white-tailed deer running through the woods. Their presence totally changed the scenery. it makes the woods feel more exhilarating. More recently, I saw a tiny mouse scurrying from one dead grassy bush to another, somewhat defiantly disregarding my presence, trying to survive in the frigid environment just one more day. That's the kind of miracle I find in the wilderness. Lord, may the wilderness be with me always. Grant me ears to hear the sound of silence, so I'm more aware of the life you created on earth.
I have had to unlearn a lot about silence. If not unlearn, then more to the point, undo or expand beyond how I thought about it and certainly how it felt to me. My early informative experiences or associations with silence tend towards the negative. I get into trouble for breaking a household rule, usually for doing something bad to my sister or my other sister. And so I get a timeout. I get sent to my room. Silence. I get wounded by the words or actions of someone close to me and unable to speak directly to it and confront it. I hold that hurt. Silence. In self-righteous and totally misplaced anger, having been called into my own harm of another, I withdraw from healthy dialogue and I weaponize wordlessness. Silence. I'm moved by tragedy or trauma to speechlessness and cannot even contemplate coming to voice to articulate the deep grief or fear. Silence. Over time, an unfortunate connection emerged between silence and fear, silence and lack of agency, silence and even abandonment. For a long while, I didn't or I couldn't see silence as a gift, much less as a spiritual practice, a pathway to experience the presence of God. I couldn't access it as a resource, a space to harness energy and awareness, a plane on which to encounter the interconnectedness of all of creation. And so I limited my wandering into the what ifs and could be's. I limited them to the realm of language, really, to that which could only be spoken or written, talked about, or read. That certainly left a lot undiscovered, and more to the point, a lot unexperienced within my body, within my soul. It's like the very tool that could have helped to integrate my body and spirit, heart and mind was silence, but I never would reach for it without courage or humility to do so. Over the years, I have tiptoed towards it and through it with time and care. The Christian mystics of late have guided me. Now, those contemplatives, they do love their silences. And through them and their wisdom, I've come to understand the essential and sustaining power of silence. The late John O'Donohue, poet, priest, and philosopher, has taught me a great deal about silence as a partner in healing what ails all of us. He writes this: there is an incredibly subtle and powerfully calculating industry of modern dislocation, where that which is deep and lives in silence within us is completely ignored. There is a sinister eviction taking place. People's lives are being dragged outward all the time. The inner world of the soul is suffering a great eviction by the landlord forces of advertising and external social reality. This outer exile really impoverishes us. One of the reasons so many people are suffering from stress is not that they are doing stressful things, but that they allow so little time for silence. A fruitful solitude without silence and space is inconceivable. He writes, silence is one of the major thresholds of the world. So this week, this evening, we choose silence. We invite silence. We enter silence as a threshold to the deep. It is not absence. It is not diminishment. It is not punishment. It is opening. It is awakening. It is awareness. In silence, we are met with possibility and with the presence of God. Be still and know that I am God, writes the psalmist. Be still and know. Be still. Be.
Now let's reflect on silence through song. So if y'all want to sing with me on mute, we'll sing the first two verses of Come and Find the Quiet Center. Come and find the quiet center in the crowded life we lead. Find the room for hope to enter. Find the frame where we are freed. Clear the chaos and the clutter. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter. Be at peace and simply be. Silence is a friend who claims us, cools the heat and slows the pace. God it is who speaks and names us, knows our being, touches base. Making peace within our thinking, lifting shades to show the sun, raising courage when we're shrinking, finding scope for faith begun.
Good evening, everyone. I know most of you. I'm BJ Carpin. I'm St. Paul and St. Andrews resident United Methodist Buddhist and meditation teacher. Thank you, Lee, for this opportunity. I love that hymn, Come and Find the Quiet Center in the crowded life we lead. Clear our eyes that we can see all the things that really matter, be at peace, and simply be. Simply be. Silence is a friend who claims us. It makes me think of a quote by the author and spiritual leader Majaya Sati Bhagatavi, quiet the mind and the soul will speak. Quiet the mind and the soul will speak. It sounds so simple, right? Oh, just quiet the mind. I spent 3 years teaching meditation classes in corporations. I taught over 750 classes, and I taught thousands of participants, and never one of them came up to me and said, "Gosh, quiet my mind, got it, check." Um, Especially now, right in the midst of this pandemic, this war, all that's going on in our external world, and what it brings up in our internal world. Quieting the mind is a tall order. But maybe we can quiet our minds just a tiny bit by listening for what's here externally, listening for what's here internally, finding that still small place where meditation can deepen into prayer. There's a wonderful story about Dan Rather interviewing Mother Teresa. Some of you may have heard it. And he asks Mother Teresa, what happens when you pray? What do you say to God? And she said, I listen. And Dan Rather was a little puzzled by this, and he said, well, what does God say? And she said, God listens. And if you don't understand that, I can't explain it to you. And I just love that idea of prayer as listening, of meditation as listening. In Mary Oliver's poem, The Summer Day, she writes, I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed. I do know how to pay attention, how to listen, right? And maybe that's where these two worlds meet, meditation and prayer, listening. So we sit here together, people of faith, people of questioning faith, people who are wondering, curious, mystified, and we listen. We listen to our external world and to our internal world, and we open to an experience of God, an experience of the mystery of God. And we do this in a way that feels open and easeful, relaxed and yet awake, listening, allowing our experience to be as it is, moment to moment. So if you're willing, let's practice a little bit of meditation together, and I'll guide us. So even if you've never meditated, it's perfectly fine. Just sit in a way that feels to you present, that feels upright if that's possible for your body right now. And just inviting a sense of presence, a sense of dignity, of quiet energy, relaxed and yet awake. And you're welcome to close your eyes if you like, or just lower your gaze a little bit, just turning inward and listening. And I'm going to play this gong, and just listen to the sound all the way to the end. And you might notice as the sound of the gong fades, other sounds take its place. You may hear the sirens coming through my headphones. Maybe you hear them where you are too. Just notice what else you hear. What other sounds are here now? Opening to listening. And whatever is here, just allowing that to be part of your experience in this moment. Noticing that you're in a body, noticing the points of contact your body is making with whatever surface you're on. Maybe imagining the earth below, the sky above, your place in the world. Becoming aware that you're breathing and not seeking to change that in any way, but just simply noticing what it feels like, this felt sense of the body breathing. And as we're sitting and breathing together, I'd like to share another of Mary Oliver's poems called I Happen to Be Standing. I don't know where prayers go or what they do. Do cats pray while they sleep half asleep in the sun? Does the opossum pray as it crosses the street? The sunflowers, the old black oak growing older every year? I know I can walk through the world along the shore or under the trees with my mind filled with things of little importance, in full self-attendance, a condition I can't really call being alive. Is a prayer a gift or a petition? Or does it matter? The sunflowers blaze, maybe that's their way. Maybe the cats are sound asleep, maybe not. While I was thinking this, I happened to be standing just outside my door with my notebook open, which is the way I begin every morning. Then a wren in the privet began to sing. He was positively drenched in enthusiasm. I don't know why. And yet, why not? I wouldn't persuade you from whatever you believe or whatever you don't. That's your business. But I thought of the wren singing, what could this be if it isn't a prayer? So I just listened, my pen in the air. So just continuing to breathe. And I'm going to be silent for a moment or two and just notice what silence feels like for you. And however it feels is okay. And bringing some attention to your heart area now. Listening for how your heart is right now. Gently inquiring, how's my heart right now in this moment? And maybe together we can open our hearts a little bit. Breathe in some of God's love. accepting that into our very beings. And sending that love out into the world. Knowing that we do not keep this practice, this prayer or meditation practice for ourselves. We offer it to all beings, especially those who suffer right now. There are many suffering in Ukraine, in Russia, all over the world. Hearts breaking, lives lost. Sometimes we feel helpless, but this is something we can do. We can send love. May all beings be safe from external danger and internal turmoil. May all be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free. And if you'd like, you can place your hands at heart center and offer a bow to honor your practice today. Thank you.
In the Spirit, let us travel, open to each other's pain. Let our loves and fears unravel, celebrate the space we gain. There's a place for deepest dreaming. There's a time for heart to care. In the Spirit's lively scheming, there is always room to spare.
Thank you, BJ. Thanks, Brent. May the blessing of sleep bring refreshment and release. And the angel of the moon call the rivers of dream to soften the hardened earth of outside life, disentangle from the trapped nets the hurts and sorrow, and awaken the young soul for the new tomorrow. Go and be still before God. And when you meet silence, lean in and listen. Amen.